All right, today we are diving into something truly wild. It's the story of an artist and researcher known only as AG, who spent 30 years of his life completely off the grid, working on one single massive project. And you know what? It failed. Spectacularly. But what he found in the wreckage of that failure, well, it's an incredible story of obsession, of hardship, and of accidentally inventing a whole new way to look at the world. So let's start with the question that is at the absolute heart of this whole 30-year journal. You gotta understand, for AG, this wasn't just some philosophical thought experiment. This question, is it work if it's unpaid, was the engine driving his entire life. He was trying to answer it not just with words, but with his very existence. Everything we're about to get into, all the complex theories, the strange diagrams, the thousands and thousands of pages of notes, it all flows from this one deeply personal 30-year-long struggle to figure out the value of his own life and his own labor, in a world that just wasn't paying for it. In this slide, this really shows you the stark reality of his life. On one side, you have pure hardship. We're talking decades of poverty, constant illness, moving from place to place over and over again. But then, you look at the other side. Look at that output. Over 1,000 pages of research, hundreds of musical compositions, hundreds of paintings. It's just a staggering amount of creative work, all done with zero funding, zero recognition, under the absolute worst circumstances. So, where did all that energy and struggle go? Well, it was all channeled into one single monumental ambition. A project so big, so all-encompassing that maybe, just maybe, it was always destined to fail. And here it is. In 2001, he starts the History Project. And get this, the goal wasn't to paint a battle or a famous person. The goal was to paint history itself, the very concept of it. Think about that for a second. It's so ambitious, it's almost absurd, right? Trying to make something that abstract into something you can see. So, after years and years of pouring everything he had into it, what happened? It collapsed. A total, complete failure. And in his own words, it didn't just fail a little bit, it failed epically. But here's where the story takes a fascinating turn, because that epic failure, it becomes the new beginning. The wreckage of that old project leaves behind a mystery. Why? Why did this life's work fall apart so completely? The hunt for that answer would end up becoming an even bigger, more profound project than the one that failed. So he starts this investigation, and it's not about feeling sorry for himself or trying to place blame. No, this was a cold, hard, almost scientific analysis of failure. It was about digging through all the chaos, all the noise of his past work, to find some kind of hidden pattern, some kind of signal. And this is the pivot point. The Archives Project is born. The mission is no longer to paint history. The new mission is to dissect the history of his own failure. All those old notes, drawings, and compositions became the raw material. It's like creative archaeology on his own life's work. Now, to do this kind of investigation, AG realized he couldn't just work in a normal studio. He needed a special kind of laboratory, a place he called the Historiotheca. It wasn't just a storage room, it was a thinking machine. He literally designed it like a warehouse, with systems for processing information. He called them inflows and outflows, basically treating his own creative past like a massive database that he could search and analyze. And this was his method. It's brilliant, really. He saw the entire mess of his failed project as a noise field, just pure chaos. So the act of organizing it was like signal processing. Step 1, triage. Filter through everything. Step 2, sort it into piles. Step 3, purge all the junk and the duplicates. And finally, step 4, containerize it. Give everything that's left a proper home. He was trying to distill a pure, clear signal from the noise of his own creativity. Okay, but here's the bombshell. While he was sifting through all this noise, he found something he was never, ever looking for. He wasn't just figuring out why his project failed, he was accidentally uncovering the fundamental rules of a brand new science. It all starts with this idea he called the noise field. Okay, stick with me here. He basically theorized that at the most fundamental level, reality is just a chaotic, random soup of what he called N-bits, or noise bits. It's the raw material for everything. Pure, untapped potential. So you've got this chaos, this noise field, right? Well, out of that chaos, a structure starts to emerge. It weaves itself together into this incredibly complex, high-dimensional fabric. And he gave it a name, The historium, get this, it's not history itself, but the ground upon which history happens. It's like the soil, the very texture of reality. And of course, if this fabric, this historiome, is a real thing, well, then you can study it. And the name for that new science? Historiomics, the study of the very structure of history, all born from analyzing a failed art project. It's just incredible. So now you have this radical new science. How in the world do you explain it to people? You can't just write a dry academic paper. So AG's final, ultimate creation was an attempt to actually build a working model of the historiome in the form of a novel. But right away, he completely rejected the idea of a traditional story. To him, a normal narrative is just a line. It's one-dimensional, it's way too simple to capture the complex, interwoven nature of the historium. He needed something more, something with depth. And this chart just lays out the leap he was trying to make. On the left, that's your typical novel, a linear story, a one-dimensional line that you just follow along. But on the right, that's his project, a systemic platform. It's not a line, it's a high-dimensional object he called a polytope, and it's not about choose your own adventure, it's about create your own adventure. You're not a passive reader, you're an active creator within this world. He literally imagined building this new kind of novel from the ground up, using geometry. A character is just a single point. That character's life, that's a line. The places they go, like a coffee house, those are planes. And when you weave all those points and lines and planes together, you don't get a simple story. You get a polytope, a complex, crystalline, mathematical object that a reader can actually explore. And this was the final, absolutely mind-bending goal. The book isn't a story about history. The book is a historiome. It's a living system, a simulation of that very fabric of reality he discovered. It's a world you're meant to explore, not just read from front to back. Which leaves us with this incredible, provocative question at the end of it all. AG started this whole journey by asking, what is work? And he ended up completely rewriting what a book can even be. Out of the ashes of this failed masterpiece, he gave us a new science and a totally new kind of art that challenges everything we think we know about stories, about reading, and about creation itself. What does it even mean to read something like that? It's a pretty powerful idea to chew on.